Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mapolo from Mapolo's Corner. Renew your mindset. Guys, una know me say, even though say I don't criticize someone in this channel on Mapolo's Corner before, if you do the right one, I will still support you. That means there's no permanent enemy, there's no permanent friends. No friends, no foes. Now if you Mapolo's Corner. I know they fight you. I know they fight anybody. It depends on your situation for today, what you are doing. And how they take support you. if anyone don't come out now, begin to do good thing now, repent. I go like her, I go bring her here at the time and say, thank you, Buhari. Even when you don't come out to when you supposed to do and you know do and now you won't do them. Well, I know too much. You get one person one I won't bring here. You don't know in the time pass when it be say me probably I don't criticize them from Mampolo's Corner here because now my work I did. If you do the one no good, I'll bring it to Mampolo's Corner. I'll criticize them. The day even when I criticized yesterday, so if you do the one good today, I go promote you. I go come here, come promote you. So I'm not there anywhere. It depends on who you are today. Now the Mampolo's Corner. Now you got one man from Edo State. One I want bring to now. One that they call Adams Oshomole. I won't bring that to Mampolo's Corner again. Since one Adams Oshomole joined APC, I feel like saying at the first video when I see say they talk through. Now it be this one. See, I repeat them now. I said since Adams Oshomole joined APC, he be like saying now this one at the first video when they talk something when they reasonable, meaningful, sensible, and truthful. And what he's talking about is regarding this subsidy removal. I don't want to talk too much. Let's begin to hear him. He make a little bit of sense here. Adams Oshomole, you are welcome to Mampolo's Corner once again. All right now, watch the video.
Today, I have a former governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshomole, senator-elect, and a former NLC president who has been sitting in on behalf of the federal government at the meetings with Labour. He joins us live here in our studio. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Shu, for having me.
It's almost difficult to describe all your roles because of the context of what we are going to be discussing tonight, which is the fuel subsidy. Today, there was another meeting, a follow-up from the last Wednesday's meeting. But obviously, there was the absence of NLC. Do you know why?
No idea, because the decision to meet today was agreement between the NLC, the TUC, and the government representative. Because that was the first meeting to exchange ideas and side out various parties what they thought and all of that. And we were to meet today to exchange further ideas and see how we can find a common ground. Now, I'm not in a position to tell you why they were not there.
So, what was the agreement today? What did you agree today, or was it another deadlock?
I don't think when you're having a conversation, it's between agreement. It's not. You refer. I mean, it is not that you agree or you have a deadlock. I would say we have a very productive conversation today. Productive in the sense that the Trade Union Congress came up with a list of specific demands which they will want the government to address. And I believe that a lot of those demands are doable, they are viable, and they make a lot of sense.
Okay.
What are these demands?
And government in return agreed to look at this comprehensively and revert back on Tuesday with a view to finding a common solution. Of course, there are a couple of them. I will just speak to one or two or three.
Okay, that's good.
The first is the fact that when you increase wage, you withdraw subsidy, you try to make some savings. In the case of Nigeria, it's even now much more serious because we're now talking of bogus figures like 6 trillion, 7 trillion naira in a year. And so if you are going to save 6-7 trillion in a year, that sounds good. If the policy implication is that you save. Unfortunately, the fact of that saving means that the cost of PMS is going to go up. And therefore, those who operate commercial vehicles or own private vehicles will have to pay more. And so passengers have to pay more to go to work.
That's true.
And to return from work. Farmers have to pay more to go to the market, to sell their farm produce, and also pay more to return back home. So, in a sense, there's no question that removing the subsidy means some level of increase in the cost of living.
Good.
Beyond the issue of transportation. It will cascade to every aspect of life.
So
In many cities. So now how do you deal with that? Why is Labour opposed to subsidy? Labour is opposed to withdrawal of subsidy because of the consequential increase in the cost of living. So now that you have done it, then you have to deal with the other side of it, which is adjust my wages in a manner that will enable me cope with the increases in the cost of living, so that overall I protect my living standard.
That's right.
I think that is very, very legitimate, because the business of labor is to protect, not just protect living standard, but to even improve living standard. Everywhere around the world, nobody preside over liquidation of his own constituency. So I think it is legitimate for labor to say, if you have withdrawn the subsidy, and as a consequence are paying much more to go to work, and in no time, the prices of everything will escalate to some extent in varying degrees, depending on your location, then you should also adjust my cost, my take-home pay. Number two, if you go to make this amount of saving, then you should be able to plug back part of that savings to the wheat sector to deal with not just cost of transportation, but I talk about cost of living, of which transportation is only one element.
Yes.
So I don't think anybody can fault the demand of labor. I certainly think that there's a lot of merit in it. Now, the issue is then, by how much? Now, that is something that has to be discussed. The second is, you have to deal with the supply side of transportation. Sometimes transportation, cost of transportation can go up, not because of cost of PMS, but simply based on the law of supply and demand. So government can help to influence the supply side by procuring more mass transit buses and give it to those who have the know-how to manage them, including state government investing in mass transit transportation, so that on the supply side there are enough buses, and therefore nobody will take undue advantage to mark up cost of transportation in a manner that we create a lot of hardship, all over the country. Again, I believe this is doable, and it's not a new ground to be broken, to be done before. The challenge has been that these policies are not sustained. But what that means is that this time around, if you recognize that there's need to assist on the supply side, then you will have to ensure that you put the mass transit in the hands of those who have the know-how to manage them. And they are not giving away as a token. They're giving away. You are assisted to procure it, but you have to also manage the fleet in a way that you can refund or repay the money that is made available to you to the procurement or government bus purchase, and then give it to those who can run them efficiently.
Commercialize it.
I mean, any day, if you ask me, and I think even the president has spoken to that, you can't increase my cost of living and ask me to find and abandon me to myself. The president himself has said he is committed, he believed that the minimum wage should be increased. And not only it had to be increased. However, because we are in a democracy, but even in a dictatorship, what now constitutes a realistic minimum wage must be subject of negotiations by the social partners. It's not something that the president can decree. We pass the era of president decrees that follows. So it has to be the result of negotiation between the trade unions, the organized private sector, usually represented by the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association. And of course, you also want the state government to be able to be part of it, because they too have to pick up the bill arising from whatever agreement is reached, so that whatever agreement that comes out is one you can that benefit from the input of all those who will be affected by it one way or the other.
Thank you. Now, I don't hear from our brother, our father, Adams Oshemole. Thank you very much for this. For agreeing with the masses. Now, so we didn't know you before. But when you join APC, I don't know what you come over you. What you they talk again? Come become opposite. Become opposite because of party. Because of party. I can say now be Adams Oshemole and when be Labour Party chairman before be this one. What is wrong? What is happening? Now it's like since when you don't win senator now. Since my own people show you paper for especially for Benin, it's like you are coordinating more better now. Continue the way you are now. It's better. That's the one that say make it continue. Picking one that say make it continue the way when they do. It means say they do good thing. Now I applaud you for this statement. I like them. In my last video, in my previous video, I said something about this minimum wage increase. Go and watch it. You will see it there. I said you cannot remove subsidy, which will increase the cost of living of the poor masses. And you say you no go increase the minimum wage. It no go happen. I talk now. Go and watch my video. I know they talk right now. I could remember the day when Tinubu announced the removal of subsidy. I made this statement. I said you must increase the minimum wage of the poor masses. Now the problem I have, I'm getting information that they are going to increase the minimum wage. But my question is by what proportion? By what percentage? By what margin? That's my problem. Because I don't hear say that go increase them to 30,000. I don't know what is still there now, whether it's still 18,000 till now, or be 20,000. I don't know. But you are increasing it from that 18 or 20 to 30,000. That's how many percent increase? That's what I want to know. Now, let's analyze it. I'm an economist. Let's analyze it as an economist. In economics, they don't call proportionality. Now, the pump price have increased for almost up to 200%. between 160 to 200%, depending on your location and the price is when I put that the pump price have increased from 100 and something naira now to 500. Some places over 500 naira. That is outrageous increase. Over 200% increase, or around about 200% increase. Yes, in fuel pump price, we understand that. Now you want to increase the minimum wage, and you want to increase it with less than 50%. They are not proportional. The increase of fuel pump is not proportionate to the increase of minimum wage. Still, the poor masses are going to suffer, and that's the problem. That's the problem I have with this increase you are talking, because it is easier for Nigerian people who are suffering when they say, we are increasing your salary from 20,000 to 30,000, and they say, I'm earning 30,000 now. The difference of that 10,000 they are adding to you, does it offset the difference in the living costs that have increased as a result of the removal of subsidy? That's the question. Does it offset it? Does it clear it? Does it make you to be where you were before, even before the increase of your minimum wage? That's what I'm asking. They put 10,000 for you. Then your living cost of every standard, it have increased by 80,000. So how do you cope? That's what you need to use your brain. Therefore, the government must increase the minimum wage in proportionality to the increase cost by that subsidy removal. To the increase cost to the living expenses as a result of the removal of that subsidy. That is when you are making sense to me. Now, for the minimum wage increase, I will suggest it should not be less than 40,000 naira. Bad as a bad. If it's too bad, I don't want anybody to hear 30,000 there, because no. It's not even near proportionate to the increase that the subsidy removal have caused to the increase of living expenses, of living standard, cost of living. It's too much. Even when you put it 40,000, it's not near proportionate, because you are only increasing it like about you're only increasing what is called minimum wage by like about 100%. But the petroleum pump price have increased with over 200%. You see, so even though you are giving them 40,000 as minimum wage, it cannot still offset what problem or what cost of living hike That thing have cost. He cannot even see offset it. So bringing 30,000 naira is a disaster to me. From my own analysis as an economist, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't change it doesn't bring any difference. So all these Labour Congress and all those that TUC that are fighting this thing, please let the minimum wage of an average in Nigeria or poor Nigerians may not be less than 40,000. Now me they tell you, because if not, they won't survive it. You will watch it now, you will see it. We don't want crime to increase in Nigeria. That's why they analyze the situation. I'm not in government, but I know that when my video is shared to them, they will hear me. Now I heard some people that are saying that they are going to go on strike on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. There will be strike. There will not be strike. Baba, there will not be a strike. Make I confirm unto you now. I will show you video now. Strike no go there. Because I know why strike no go there. All those things they are using their brain to come together and all that. Before you know, they will say, oh, they have increased it to 30,000. Everybody don't go rest. Suffer continues. Suffer continues. They should increase it to 40,000. All this. No, let us not just be shouting. And we know me. All those things I'm here talking now. I'm not talking now for my self-interest. No, I'm not paid in Nigeria. I told you. I say it every time. Well, minimum wage in Nigeria or cost of living, good living standard, it doesn't affect me. But I have friends, I have family, I have people who that is been affected, and I feel for them. It is appalling. It is appalling. For those who want to say strike, they come. All right, now I'm going to watch now. Labour Congress chairman, I be LC chairman. Make know what that strike today. Watch video.
Come with a more concrete reality.
Okay.
And framework and alternative. The CNG alternative is better than the price even before the increment. Yeah, but if you check countries of the world like Kuwait, like Qatar and others, which large gas deposit, you agree with me that it's a very viable alternative because the deposit here can sustain the country for the next 500 years. It's a clean energy, eco-friendly, and cheaper. I think the whole battle we are having now is the issue of the cost being at 500. And by our last meeting, during Silver's time, we were talking about 90 naira. So if this government achieves an option or alternative that is even under 90 or 120 or whatever, I think every one of you will be clapping for them. So it's the willpower, to achieve this. It's a very viable alternative is done all over. So what we need is the willpower. And if we achieve that, I think there will be, a lot of success, a lot of progress so made. Okay. I believe that what we need is for them, to work unlike what we experienced before. By now, we should have gone far.
And it says, following the engagements between the federal government, TUC and NLC, with the intervention of the Speaker, House of Representatives, to resolve the disputes that arose from the withdrawal of subsidy on PMS, the following resolutions were reached. 1, the federal government, the TUC and the NLC, to establish a joint committee to review the proposal for any wage increase or award and establish a framework and timeline for implementation. 2, the federal government, the TUC and the NLC to review World Bank Finance Cash Transfer Scheme and propose inclusion of low-income earners in the program. As you are aware, the $800 million loan did not really capture the low-income government workers. So
because they consider them before now.
How to include them in that scheme.
They consider them poor.
3, the federal government, the TUC, and the NLC to revive the CNG conversion program earlier agreed with labor centers in 2021 and work out detailed implementation and timing. 4, the labor centers and the federal government to review issues hindering effective delivery in the education sector and propose solutions for implementation. 5, the labor centers and the federal government to review and establish the framework for completion of the rehabilitation of the nation's refineries.
Okay.
6, the federal government is to provide a framework for the maintenance of roads and expansion of rail networks across the country.
All right.
All other demands submitted by the TUC, and that's the seventh, all other demands submitted by the TUC to the federal government will be assessed by the joint committee. So consequently, ladies and gentlemen, the parties agreed as follows. 1, the NLC is to suspend the notice of strike forthwith to enable further consultations. 2, the TUC and the NLC to continue the ongoing engagements with the federal government and secure closure on the resolutions above. And finally, the labor centers and the federal government to meet on June 19th, 2023, to agree on an implementation framework.
So now don't hear them. The strike has been suspended. So if you know anywhere you are going in Nigeria, go about your normal businesses. Oh, now they hear me. So you get, because you get some people when they call me to get that information. That's why I shoot this part. And secondly, it's like I was hearing that there's discrepancy between the NLC, that is Nigerian Labour Congress, in the north, and those one in the southwest or something. They are not agreeing. It's part of the reason why the strike was suspended. I will go into that very soon in detail. I don't want to talk too much, guys. If you love what I'm doing, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and on TikTok. Hello, my is gonna love, guys. Peace out.